So the character of Boruto Uzumaki is no stranger when it comes down to the criticisms of the Boruto and Naruto franchise, and by extension his generation as a whole have been labeled as one that have been getting too powerful too quickly, or they haven't really worked for what they had. But no matter how you slice and dice it, whether you hate them or love them, there's one thing that I have to say coming out of chapter 54, the latest chapter of the Boruto manga, that I must admit that Boruto's potential has officially entered a new realm of possibility, literally earth-shattering. Welcome everyone, it's Andrew Uchiha here and welcome back to the channel, where today, as you can tell, we'll be discussing Boruto Uzumaki and his future potential coming out of the latest chapter of the Boruto manga. Of course, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe if you're a fan of Boruto content and discussions and all that jazz and blues. Definitely leave a subscribe and a like. We're on our way to 20,000 subs, and I hope you guys can join the little Uchiha community that we are cultivating here in our small corner of YouTube. But yo, for real respect if you're tuning in for the first time, returning subscribers, shout out to you guys. You know, it's all love and support here, and I respect that. But of course, let's get into today's discussion. So I'm no stranger when it comes on to talking about Boruto Uzumaki and his potential, or at least trying to power scale him. About a year and a half ago, I power scaled most of Team 7, well, all of Team 7, with the exception of Konohamaru, going into the fight against Boro. And coming out of chapter 54, as I said in the intro there, Boruto's potential has entered a whole new realm of possibility. Now, taking into consideration my previous video on the topic, Boruto was already, how should I say, like Kage level in terms of his danger level, or in terms of his strength level, in terms of what I would categorize him as a highball. But in retrospect, given that he is a karma user and Momoshiki is his Otsutsuki, his associated Otsutsuki, maybe in retrospect Kage level in terms of, you know, strength is probably an understatement. But I digress. Coming out of chapter 54, we learned that by Momoshiki's admission that Kawaki, in Kawaki's case, even though Isshiki is no longer, his consciousness is no longer here, the extraction of the karma seal and by extension the DNA of Isshiki, it still resides in Kawaki. So Kawaki right now, by Momoshiki's admission, is 80% as well, in terms of his Otsutsukification process. So it's 80% Otsutsuki, mostly Otsutsuki, with Ishiki's DNA overwriting 80% of his. Now, also by Momoshiki's admission, we also have the same case for Boruto Uzumaki, who's now mostly Otsutsuki, 80% Momoshiki. So going forward into the future, even if we find a way, even if Kishi presents a way for them to remove Momoshiki's consciousness from Boruto's karma seal, Boruto is still mostly Otsutsuki at this point, and that to me gives rise to a whole other stream of possibilities. Oh, up to one charge here. Yeah, that gives rise to a whole different stream of possibilities when it comes on to Boruto's potential, if you ask me. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I'm not even gonna cut that out. So before, it was just Boruto using the karma seal. You know, I was very impressed with Isshiki going from level 1 to level 2 karma when he was in Jigen's body. So when I was applying that in my previous video talking about Boruto going to level 2, and if we're to assume that once he uses his level 2 karma, he's assuming something close to what Momoshiki was when he was alive, if not his full power when he was alive during the fight between himself and Naruto and Sasuke, then I had already put Boruto, all things considered, about like at least half as strong as Naruto, around that ballpark range, all things considered. But now with his DNA, with him being mostly Otsutsuki, that gives rise to another set of potential abilities that Boruto will now be able to do, naturally speaking. Now, I know Kishi wanted to give Boruto the Byakugan before, but with his new biology, that means Boruto could unlock the Byakugan and any other random Otsutsuki based ability going forward into the future. So just see with me here, and I think obviously you've caught on to what I'm trying to get at right now. So stuff like flights, the Otsutsuki like chakra rods, Momoshiki's ability to absorb ninjutsu and redirect it at greater strength. So for example, even if Boruto say loses the karma seal at some point in the future, he might be able to unlock these abilities and possess them naturally. and if at some point we're gonna have him exploit this new biology of his, because taking chapter 54 as the example, it doesn't seem like just having this new mostly Otsutsuki body just automatically boosts your base stats based on Kawaki's performance in the chapter. So if we're going into the future at some point with Boruto being able to, say he loses Momoshiki consciousness wise, and he has this new biology, there's no guarantee he's gonna automatically be able to just, you know, get a stat boost essentially from that. If we're gonna find a way to exploit this new biology, and it's going to be, you know, exploiting or bringing out the power that Momoshiki had during his fight with Naruto and Sasuke, fuse Momoshiki, at least 80% of that power, then the possibilities are essentially endless when it comes on to Boruto. He has essentially entered, potentially speaking, going down further into the future, the high tiers of the Naruto universe when it comes on to like power rankings essentially. And just taking, like, say, it's like we're essentially, long story short, taking Momoshiki, a character who has a wealth of potential but doesn't train, and combining him with the natural potential and the mindset to train that Boruto has going into the time skip and beyond, as well as any other miscellaneous, because Kishimoto could introduce any miscellaneous or random thing that the Otsutsuki can naturally do by just being an Otsutsuki, and just add that onto Boruto. so that's what I'm saying. There's a wealth of things that Kishi could do to really boost Boruto up to some ridiculous levels in terms of strength, power, chakra, and just technique in general. So that's what I'm saying. It's just ridiculous, but what I like about it at the end of the day is that the stuff that we were in conflict with in the story is what Kishimoto is using to give Boruto this boost. So essentially it doesn't necessarily feel contrived or feel like an ass pull, because we're slowly seeing that potential and all the things that come with it being revealed by Kishimoto. So the next big step right now, I feel, is finding a way to exploit that new Otsutsuki biology at some point, because it doesn't seem like it's going to be an automatic stat boost even if you take the consciousness of the associated Otsutsuki out of the equation. So yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. And just to end, if we're to assume that once they are able to take advantage of the new biology, right, are we to assume that Kawaki will be getting like 80% of what Isshiki was capable of in terms of like just raw strength? Because if that's the case, Kawaki's busted once they find a way to make use of this new DNA. So yeah. The potential of Isshiki and Momoshiki if they train, that's literally what we have on display here. So I'd say the path to surpassing Naruto and Sasuke is clearer than ever, especially with their recent losses and concerns for their character. You know, the Rinnegan's gone, and Naruto, there's something up with him. So yeah, but anyway, let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm talking foolishness. I could be wrong. I don't know, maybe. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it is what it is. I think it's a very interesting discussion, and it's food for thought at the end of the day. I think it's an interesting way to look at things, and I think it's the most obvious way for us to have these characters surpass Naruto and Sasuke specifically. It kind of speaks to, again, we're kind of leaving Mitsuki and Sarada in the dust. Jeez. Anyway, Sanjay Uchiha here, guys. Thanks for tuning in today. Hope you guys are having a great day, night, midnight, midday, something, whenever you're listening to this. Thanks for tuning in if you made it this far, and I'll see you in the next Boruto discussion.